introducing a visitor from the distant past of 1775. The chair now recognizes the delegate from Hanover County, Virginia, Mr. Patrick Henry.
Mr. President and fellow delegates to the Second Virginia Convention, the most important subject before this convention is should we arm and train our own Virginia militia so that Great Britain will no longer have any excuse for stationing troops in our colony and taxing us to pay for them. Some of the worthy gentlemen here today have expressed concern that this may offend the Crown and interfere or jeopardize profitable trade with Great Britain. Mr. President, no man thinks more highly than I do of the patriotism as well as the abilities of the worthy gentlemen who have just addressed this House. However, different men often see the same subject under different lights. Therefore, I pray it will not be thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if, entertaining as I do, opinions of a very opposite character to theirs, I express my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before this House is one of awful moment to our country. For myself, I consider it to be a question of no less than slavery or freedom. Therefore, the freedom of debate should be proportionate to the magnitude of the subject. Only in this way may we hope to arrive at the truth and fulfill our great responsibility which we hold to our God and to our country. If I should hold back my opinions at such a time, through fear of giving offense, I would consider myself guilty of treason to my country or disloyalty to the majesty of heaven, which I revere above all earthly kings. Mr. President, it's only natural for men to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes to a painful truth and listen to the song of that siren of hope until she transforms us into cowards. But is this the part of wise men engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be among those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, those things which are most nearly concern our temporal salvation? For my own part, I wish to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and prepare for it. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no way to judge the future but by the past. And judging by the past, I would like to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry during the last 10 years which justifies those hopes with which the gentlemen are so pleased to solace themselves and this House. Could it be that insidious smile with which our recent petition was received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our recent petition comports with the warlike preparations that cover our waters and darken our land. Are armies and navies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be employed to win back our love? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation, the last arguments to which kings resort. I ask the gentleman, sir, what means this martial array if its purpose be not to force us into submission? Can the gentleman assign any other possible motive for it? Has Great Britain any enemies in this quarter of the world which would justify such an accumulation of armies and navies? No, sir, she has none. They are meant for us. They can be meant for no other. They're sent over here to bind and rivet upon us those chains which the British ministry have been so long forging. And what have we to oppose them? Shall we try argument? Sir, we've been trying that for 10 years. Do we have anything new to offer on the subject? No, nothing. This subject has been held up to every light of which it is capable, and it has all been in vain. Shall we resort to entreaty and humble supplication? What terms shall we find which have not already been totally exhausted? Let us not, I beseech you, sir, deceive ourselves longer. We have done everything possible to avert the storm which is now coming on. We have petitioned, we have remonstrated, we have supplicated, we have prostrated ourselves before the throne and implored its interposition to restrain the tyrannical hands of the ministry and the Parliament. Our petitions have been slighted, our remonstrances have produced only additional insult and violence, our supplications have been disregarded, we have been spurned with contempt from the foot of the throne. It is in vain, sir, after all these things, that we may indulge in the fond hope of peace and reconciliation. There is no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon, then, sir, we must fight. I repeat it, sir, we must fight. An appeal to arms and to the God of hosts is all that is left to us. Now they tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be next week? Will it be next year? Will it be when we're totally disarmed and a British soldier is stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely upon our backs, hugging the delusive phantom of hope until we're bound hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak. If we make proper use of the means which the God of nature hath placed in our power, 3 million people, armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess, are invincible to any force any enemy may send against us. And besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God in heaven who presides over the destinies of nations, who will raise up friendly nations to help us fight our battles. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone, it is to the vigilant, the active, and the brave. And besides, sir, we no longer have any choice in the matter. If we were base enough to desire it, it is too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are already forged. Their clanking may be heard upon the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and I say, let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. It is vain, sir, to extenuate the matter further. The gentleman may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has already begun. The next gale that sweeps down from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it the gentlemen wish? What will they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death.